So now I'm going to be talking about why exactly Commander is the best format in Magic the Gathering, and why, if you're just starting out, why you should enter into Commander instead of any other format. Instead of Standard. Standard is a lie. Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. It is all about Commander. Don't even bother with Modern, Legacy, or Vintage. Those formats, they all suck dick. Nobody likes them. No, I'm just kidding. If you can really enjoy those formats and you know a lot of people to play with and stuff like that, by all means go ahead and do it. I mean, everyone has their preference, to each his own. I don't really care. But in terms of, if I had to recommend a format to anyone, it is definitely going to be Commander. I think long term it is the best investment. You have so many cards that you can use, and I think Vintage is the only format that actually beats it out in terms of the entire card pool that you can use for your decks. I don't think there's anything Modern. I mean, Modern is a terrible investment. If you're looking to invest in Modern cards, just don't do it. It's going to become this format that not a lot of people are going to want to enter in anymore. So when you have that, like, Modern players that are kind of dying out, even with Modern Masters sets, I don't think it's going to be enough to keep players from wanting to enter into Modern for too long, especially when you have Commander, just this epic format that everyone plays. It seems people who, whether you play Legacy, Vintage, Modern, or even Standard, what you all have in common is that wherever I go, whether it's locals, whether it's my play group, FNMs, whatever the hell I go, everyone seems to have their own Commander deck. Why? Because it is such a personal experience getting together with friends and just saying, hey, I want to make a Commander deck. Can you guys help me out? I want to go pick this legendary creature and make a 99 card deck designed to work well with the legendary creature. It's such a journey, especially if you're a deck builder, making and optimizing a deck of your own. Very few decks are actually considered net decks in this format too, which is another benefit. Every other format seems to have a problem with net decking. There's just a lack of creativity from the player standpoint. Commander is the ultimate deck builder's format, and I will say that till the day I die. There's just nothing that really beats it. You have all this creativity, you have all these different legendaries to choose from, and you have all these different cards to choose from. You have standard Commander decks, like decks based around the current set. Like, you have decks based around Amonkhet, you have decks based around Kaladesh, all that, and they're all very fun. They work as decks, and it just seems that it combines the best of both worlds. You get the Eternal format, all that craze and all that hype around some of the oldest cards in the game, and you also get to play with some of the most busted and broken cards that are coming out. Like, for instance, Paradox Engine sees a little bit of standard play. I think there's a standard Storm deck that's currently, I don't know if it's consistent enough, but there are people who do play it, and Paradox Engine is a big part of that. But it is just one of the most enjoyable cards to play with in Commander, and that is another reason why I love Commander, is that it seems like whenever a set comes out, it can be a terrible set, it could be an awesome set, there's always going to be support for Commander. Why? Because there's just a range of different decks in Commander. It's not just a deck, it's not just a format that is just flooded with these oppressive stacks decks, or these oppressive stasis locks like you have in Vintage and all that shit. Even though there are some decks that are like that, for the most part you have a huge variety, just a huge amount of diversity in players and decks. Not everyone can afford the best land, mana fixing, and all that shit. So you have just a great variety. You have some of the worst players can enter in the format, so you have that. I mean, that's probably one of the only negatives, is that you have so many people entering into Commander that there's not really a whole lot of a competitive presence, not yet at least. There isn't a Pro Tour, there's no real competitive tournament support yet from Wizards, but you get the feeling that they're going to start doing that with 1v1 at least. They're starting to do that with MTGO now, which again is one of people's big fears. But again, a benefit to Commander is that it is a multiplayer based format. It is the most casual format in the game, and the ban list is currently run by a committee of judges. So you don't have wizards trying to fuck everything up for you, and they don't ban cards left and right. That's another benefit, is that you have safe investments, and if a card sees playing Commander, unless it's like actual cancer, it's probably not going to get banned. I mean, Paradox Engine I don't think will get banned. It's a fun card, but there are cards that deserve to be banned way more than Paradox Engine, and you can sit on your cards. It's not as demanding as Vintage or Legacy in terms of you don't need to spend thousands on decks. You really don't. You don't even need to spend hundreds. You could spend maybe just 100 and get a pretty good deck built together, even less than that. I mean, you could buy, like I said in previous videos, a pre-con deck is not that expensive, and that allows you to enter into the format. But yeah, I mean, and it's not just for new players to the game of Magic entirely. It's for anybody. If you've heard about it and you're extremely skeptical of the format, and you're someone who typically plays Modern, Standard, Legacy, Vintage, you will probably fall in love with Commander. It combines pretty much all the best aspects of the player. You have the deck building aspect, you have the playing aspect, which is pretty underrated about the format. It does take a lot of skill to be able to not only build a good deck with good synergy, but to be able to play with a deck in a singleton format. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially when you have to make a deck that's like 99 cards. It can be pretty demanding. Finding the right mana fixing and finding enough cards with similar synergies to make a consistent deck build, it can be challenging for some people to do. But again, the best part and the most fun part about Commander is the challenges. And that's why I recommend pretty much anyone who isn't already playing Commander to start the format. Again, there's always going to be support, and it seems like every single year now, more and more players are coming out. It is the quickest growing format in terms of players entering. Even in my play group, you would imagine new players coming in and like, hey, let's just introduce them to Standard, let them know the basics. Commander is pretty much everything. You get to teach them the basics in Commander. They know how to play the game, and they're also getting used to deck building, some very useful skills. And again, it's not net decking. There's some deck lists on EDHrec.com, other websites, but again, there's absolutely like no net decking. You could try to make Commander a competitive format, and you might see those problems. Like if they were to suddenly have like Pro Tours for Commander, which I don't see that happening. It's just way too casual of a format, and the games are extremely too long to even consider that as a possibility. Plus, if they did that, it would ruin the fun in the format, and it would pretty much be like Legacy and Vintage, where you have all this turn one bullshit. I just don't want to see that happen to this beauty of a format. But again, if you have, $35, enter into the format. It's not that hard. Well, anyways, that's all I had to say about in this video. If you like my video, please subscribe, like, share, do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm going to try to make some more videos probably next week, maybe this weekend. Anyway, thanks for watching.